It's about the view. It's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Like, it's like here, let's look at this political oddity. You know, it's like, it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that.
Misogyny and sexism.
Sure, all that, and the price of butter. Sonny gets the game ball. If it wasn't for her, asking that question, it might have been a closer election.
Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus didn't just roast Sonny Hostin, they slow roasted her like a backyard BBQ, flames high and comebacks hotter. It was less a debate and more a demolition derby, with zingers flying like throwing stars and wit, sharp enough to draw blood. Picture two pit bulls dismantling a balloon animal, brutal, precise, and oddly mesmerizing. The silence afterward? So heavy it needed its own trigger warning. If you've ever wondered what happens when primetime savagery gate crashes a daytime panel, buckle in. This takedown was made for the highlight reels.
Oh, nothing really comes to mind. I was like, cha-ching. Listen, they're bitter, they're angry, they're entitled. They also should be. This should have been a reset for everyone who pushed lies and misinformation for the last. They call them Hitler, they call these things. America rejected them. And instead of coming back and saying, we lied, they instead are now doubling down. So let her keep doing it, because if she keeps that up, we're going to keep getting the Senate and probably the House and the White House, because people see right through your lies. So keep doing what you're doing. Game ball to Sonny.
Two Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus are back on the tag team grind, and this time Sonny Hostin's square in the sights. You know her, queen of the icy glare and sizzling sound bites, the human embodiment of try me. She's got enough attitude to scold a thunderstorm into behaving. But throw Greg and Tyrus into the ring? This wasn't a debate. It was Predator versus Prey talk show edition. And spoiler alert, the apex predators didn't just pounce. They turned that poor gazelle into a viral gif before she even had time to blink.
Hostin's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from...
Sonny Hostin has built her brand on being serious. We're talking national tragedy-level serious. If solemn delivery were an Olympic event, she'd have a gold medal and a sponsorship deal. Her voice says, breaking news, even when she's covering celebrity divorces. But then Greg Gutfeld strolls in, pure chaos in a tailored blazer, and suddenly the mood shifts from funeral march to late-night roast. Throw in Tyrus, who drops one-liners like velvet-wrapped anvils, and what? You get isn't a debate, it's a detonation.
Detonate.
It's not even that. In The View, you don't need to find Trumpers. You need to fire your race baiters.
Yeah.
You need to fire the two races. You've had people. You had a McCain on there. You've had people on there before, and you ran them off. Mm-hmm. So the racist ones who want to stick to this, Whoopi and Sonny, and the, was it Bette Midler? What's her name? Yeah, broke-ass Bette Midler. Fire them and bring people in. Maybe you could get McCain to come back. She was a Republican, but every show and every break, she was nearly in tears because she was being attacked.
Let's break down Greg Gutfeld. He watches the news like it's a cringy sitcom begging for a rewrite, and he's got the snark and sharpness to flip every scene. Watching him go toe-to-toe with Sonny Hostin is like watching Oscar Wilde moonlight as a roast comic at a drama club. His weapon of choice? Sarcasm, fine-tuned like a scalpel and laced with pop culture references so current, it feels like he's broadcasting straight from your For You page. Greg doesn't just react. He carves his commentary in stone.
The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. You know, how can you now speak the truth and when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest. And they could be honest. All they would have to say is, look, we hate Trump so much. We were willing to lie about Joe Biden because we felt he was preferable. We thought our lying and our cover-up was on your behalf. Just say that. You're still scum, but at least you're an honest scum.
Greg doesn't just roast Sunny. He turns her into a live-action parody of everything grating about mainstream media. The outrage factory, the moral posturing, the sanctimony in a statement necklace, all bundled into one power blazer. And a perfectly timed eye roll. To Greg, she's not just a pundit. She's the final boss of media smugness. His specialty? Taking her serious takes and spinning them into what sounds like AI-generated TED Talks, delivered with the warmth of a fax machine. Her passion morphs into pre-programmed monologues, and Greg's sarcasm slices through it like a chef through soft butter. It's like slapping a laugh track onto a eulogy, jarring, hilarious, and brutally effective. But the genius of Greg's takedown isn't that it's mean, it's that it's precise. He peels back the performance to show there's another performance underneath, like pulling the curtain on daytime TV only to find another one, equally staged. Then there's Tyrus. If Greg is the flamethrower, Tyrus is the wrecking ball in slow motion. It's not loud versus quiet, it's chaos versus calm. But don't let the chill delivery fool you. Tyrus drops lines that hit like anvils wrapped in silk. You don't even realize you've been wrecked until you're either laughing or reevaluating your entire worldview.
The problem is that you have to go after the racist people. And if the CEO goes, you know what, I'm not going to allow a woman on my show or man that will go after white America and talk about them like dogs. That doesn't represent our ideals or values for anyone. And get rid of those people, and this will clear up real quick. So do you have to actually look in the mirror and clean up your own backyard and get the racist people out? Because that's who you allowed in. You allowed black racist on TV who could just go all day and say anything about white people. And I guess lo and behold, they forgot that there's a lot of people at home, white people at home during the day that are not watching your show anymore. So just clean it up.
Greg fires off one-liners like fireworks, fast, loud, and impossible to tune out. He's the spark plug, lighting up the set with rapid-fire snark and zero chill. Then there's Tyrus, the slow burn. He lets silence stretch just long enough to make everyone squirm, then drops a truth bomb so plain and cutting it feels like a message from the universe. His humor isn't about punchlines. It's about puncturing egos. And Sunny Hostin? She's an overinflated balloon just begging for the pin. She'll deliver a 5-minute maze of buzzwords and indignation, and Tyrus will boil it down to 10 words so blunt they practically leave a bruise. No shouting, no grand gestures, just precision deadpan. He's the walking version of "you good?" with the heavy implication of "because you sound insane." When Tyrus turns that calm, unbothered lens on Sunny, it's not just funny, it's ruthless. Like a giant casually noting that the emperor isn't just naked, but also handing out fashion tips. That's his genius. While Sunny's out here defending her hot takes like she's in a doctoral defense, Tyrus is quietly reminding everyone how ridiculous the whole thing looks from the cheap seats. Pair that with Greg's high-octane sarcasm and you've got the perfect combo. Precision roast meets philosophical takedown. Together, they don't just roast Sunny, they unravel her entire pundit persona with a smirk, a shrug, and a mic drop that echoes.
Because if she is shaming descendants of this, will she continue to do that when she is now one of them, Dana? And it is funny. She's so wrapped up in identity, and she had no idea who she was.
Well, now we understand why she always makes Whoopi get the coffee.
Greg comes in like a verbal arsonist, quick, explosive, and lighting up the circus tent that is mainstream media. His target? Sunny Hostin, the undisputed queen of tight-lipped indignation and moral monologues. But Greg isn't here to debate. He's launching sarcasm missiles with sniper-grade aim, turning every over-polished soundbite into a setup for a savage punchline. Then enters Tyrus, the closer. He doesn't sprint in. He saunters, cool as a breeze, and drops. A deadpan line so heavy it lands like a cinematic knockout in slow motion. Together, it's not just commentary, it's rhythm and wreckage. Greg's the rapid-fire snare drum. Tyrus the deep bass drop that hits you in the chest. This isn't a discussion. It's a deconstruction. Sonny's out here playing chess, carefully moving rhetorical pieces, while Greg and Tyrus are flipping the board and cracking jokes over a bar fight. Her usual calm, serious retorts? They crumble under humor that's not just ruthless, but revelatory, because the comedy these two bring? It's not just for laughs, it's truth in disguise, a spotlight on the scripted outrage, the performance, politics, the faux gravitas. Greg and Tyrus say what everyone's thinking, but no one on the panel wants to admit. This wasn't just another roast. It was a cultural moment, a shift. The old guard of buttoned-up, self-serious punditry is running out of gas, and Greg and Tyrus, they're not just calling time of death. They're DJing the funeral, tossing popcorn and punchlines like confetti.
Husband against Hillary Clinton, and the bottom
They did all
line
those
is
things.
this country is a misogynistic country, and this country is a country that, out of all of the first world countries, hasn't been able to elect a female president.
So I
That's just factual.
Okay, listen.
That's not what I read. The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree.
Greg and Tyrus aren't just cracking jokes. They're flipping the script on political commentary, one savage quip and raised eyebrow at a time. Sunny Hostin, with her somber tone and emotion-soaked monologues, isn't just their foil. She's the symbol of everything they're here to torch. This isn't just satire for laughs, it's a full-blown comedic rebellion. And the chemistry? Unreal. Greg and Tyrus move like veteran jazz musicians, one riffing in rapid-fire sarcasm, the other dropping slow, heavy truths that land with a thud. It feels too tight, too perfectly timed to be off the cuff, and yet it is. That's the brilliance. Greg's the intellectual sniper, every joke loaded with cultural shrapnel, delivered at the speed of a stand-up on espresso. He doesn't just roast Sunny's seriousness, he deconstructs it, turns her dramatic proclamations into glitchy TED Talk, loops that sound more algorithmic than authentic. Tyrus, he's the velvet-wrapped sledgehammer. Quiet, patient, deadly. He waits, watches, then drops a line so dry and so sharp it could slice through marble. Together, they're not a roast duo. They're a dissection unit, operating with the rhythm of a boy band and the precision of a late-night ambush. It's not just funny, it's clinical. Watching them go to work is like watching Gordon Ramsay tear into a frozen TV dinner. No frills, no mercy, just pure, satisfying takedown artistry.
Their brains are small. But who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sunny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart. Now The View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that glass doesn't shatter.